wanted to get some thoughts. I've got Tom here. I've got Cretaceous Dave. We're going to be talking. Tom Jurassic and Cretaceous Dave. You guys are going to have to fight about your time periods, okay?
Are you Triassic Brad?
I'm going to be Triassic Brad today. So yeah, we're gonna have a big head-to-head battle here over which era is the best. But before we do that, let's talk about Chaos Theory. And I'm starting to slowly say the name correctly. It's taken me a while. I think I said it right. Did I say it right? Because sometimes I say things and I thought it was right, but it wasn't right. But Chaos Theory is now here. We've got a trailer, and there's a lot to discuss. They gave us a lot more information than like what we had previously, so that was pretty good. Dave, what was your initial thoughts on seeing that trailer? Like, what was your first impressions?
Well, the first 5 seconds totally threw me off. I did not expect to see that, or honestly, I didn't expect to see Brooklyn at all. So that really threw me off. But I'm going to steal an answer that Paul McHale-Williams gave me months ago when I said, if you're allowed to, can you describe Chaos Theory in one word? And his answer was indescribable. That's kind of how I felt the first time watching the trailer, because I didn't know what to think. It was like, this is beyond what I thought, and it was just jam-packed full of stuff. So I don't know. It was just bad timing because I was in the middle of so much stuff at work, and I log on to Twitter. I'm like, crap, there's a trailer. Let me go find it. And I'm watching it on my phone, but I've watched it dozens of times since then to kind of take it all in. And I pick up little things every time I watch it, so it was awesome.
It's so funny. I'm in that same position currently where it's just somebody texting me saying, "Oh, did you see the trailer?" I'm like, "No, I didn't see the trailer. Where is this?" So I gotta find it, and then they really do a good job of kind of blowing you away with so many things within the sequence. They showed a few longer segments, and then towards the end of the trailer, it's just bam, bam, bam. They're just hitting you over the head with different dinosaur beats and action beats, and there's a lot going on. Tom, tell me, what did you think about it?
Yeah, and so I think my initial reaction was being quite excited about how mature it feels. Going into it, I was kind of like, are they going to lean more into a mature kind of story, or is it going to be more of the sort of watered down with elements of mature storytelling that we saw in Camp Cretaceous? And this really felt like right off the bat, they were kind of like, nope, this is a very different kind of story. We're going a lot more mature now. And that I think is quite exciting.
I showed my son yesterday. To be honest, I don't think he ever really fully watched through all of the seasons, but he knows all the characters and stuff. So when I showed him that trailer yesterday for the first time, his jaw was dropped. And he was like, Brooklyn is dead? What? Are you kidding? He was so upset about it. And then every moment in that trailer, he just kept saying, are those people going to die? Are those people going to die? And I'm like, I don't know, man. So the question for today, the biggest question, I think, is Brooklyn dead? Dave, what do you think?
So over a month ago, I said when the first synopsis came out that they're trying to figure out what happened to one of their own. Tom probably saw this on Twitter and on there. I said, Brooklyn is dead. Dead, not speculated dead. She is dead. And then they open the trailer with Brooklyn's dead. I'm like, she's not dead. I did a total 180 after that. There's no way. Maybe she is, and they're just gonna give it to us right up front. Be like, hey, we're not gonna have you shocked. I don't know. I kind of have a feeling she's not, but I don't know. My gut is saying all through season 1, they're not gonna tell us if she's alive. That they're gonna keep us believing that, and I'm more interested in when does that video happen? I know in your thoughts on the trailer a couple days ago, you said is that right after Big Rock? So that puts that video 2 years before this show has taken place. Have they been grieving for months or years at this point? So I don't know.
I see. That's the thing. When I start whittling theories, I have no idea what the timeline of anything is, and I'm just like, wouldn't it be awesome? And then I get upset when it's not the case. So what is the? Have you heard about the official timeline? Because I forget. When is this show supposedly taking place?
Well, the teaser trailer said 6 years later, so that puts in
Mhm.
2022. And I think that interview with Scott Kramer on EW.com said it's like right before Dominion.
Okay, right before. So yeah, I was wondering,
So,
like, is there a chance that like there's different like flashback sequences or something like that? Because I don't know, it doesn't have to be, but I just really want like what happened to Brooklyn be what happened up north, and I think that would be such an awesome tie-in. But like, it
yeah.
probably doesn't check out. But like, I've been wanting something from that little line for so long. And I rewatched Battle at Big Rock last night too, and just to kind of get like a an eye on what was going on with the Allosaurus and may potentially up north and all that stuff. But Tom, so what do you think? Do you think she's officially dead, or do you think she's out there somewhere?
I think Dave is spot on that she's not dead, because I think that if she is, you're not saying it at the start, right? Because you're giving away your main piece of shock value, and I don't see that being conducive to good storytelling. But also, I think they've been really smart with this. So we know that they have recast Kenji, unfortunately, and the circumstances around that aren't great at
Yes.
all. But alongside announcing that, they announced that General Ortega wasn't coming back to play Brooklyn. So I think they've deliberately done that so people see it and think, oh, well, she's not coming back, so therefore Brooklyn's not going to be in it. But actually, she's just coming back with a different voice actor. And I think they've been very clever about how they frame that. So people see that and already are taking it and saying, oh, that's confirmation that she's not in it, when actually she very well could be, just with a different actress playing her.
Yeah, so that was this is interesting. It's like kind of like a little sidestep, because I thought that she would be gone from the show because of Jenna Ortega, but it doesn't necessarily seem to be the case, because we also have that new actor, like you're saying. I was trying to remember what his name was. Do you remember? Anybody know what the new actor's name is?
I have no idea.
Oh, it is Darren Barnett. Darren Barnett is now playing. And I do know who's playing Brooklyn, but I don't know if I should say that. But at least Darren Barnett. We know Darren was shown off on social media, so that's okay. But yeah, so I as well don't think she's dead. I feel like it'll just be some reveal down the line. And maybe she's just being captive. Maybe she faked her death.
She's surviving in a bunker with Hap right now. That's what's happening.
I think you're right. She's definitely with Hap. Dude, I'll be honest with you. There was a point in this trailer where I was like, "Is Hap the bad guy of the show?" And I was like, "Those kids left me on that island. I saved their lives, and they couldn't even rescue me. What? Why? They had a helicopter. They had boats. Whatever." But no. Who do you think that new character is? I don't think we have any inclination, right? But like, Dave? Who do you think that new guy is? You get him from the side on his phone. Like, who is it?
I don't know, but like, is the mystery guy we see throughout the same guy? Like, is the phone guy the
Yeah.
same as the guy we see with the kids? The same as the guy on the billboard? Like,
Oh, I don't know if I saw a billboard. What was the billboard?
at the beginning, they're driving down the road. I think it's in the van, and there's a billboard up on the left-hand side of the road, and it's like picture of a guy that looks kind of like that guy, but it's blurry. And then they're like dinosaurs or
Ooh.
something in the other corner, so it's like
Okay.
some roadside attraction or something. I don't know. I have no
Interesting.
idea who that guy is. The first time I watched it, because I was on the phone, I thought the voice was Dodgson talking to that person. But then when I listened with
Yeah.
headphones, on the computer, I was like, no, I think it's that guy talking. So,
Okay,
but the voice is pretty close.
I see this guy that you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so that's interesting. If it is some sort of roadside attraction, that gets my mind spinning. Like, is because we had conversations about this kind of stuff back before Dominion, right? About like who would be the bad guy of Dominion, or what would be some of the circumstances in Dominion. And one of the things I think was like people setting up like, I don't know, like hunting grounds or some sort of zoos or things like with dinosaurs. And I think that could be interesting if it's somebody like that, like trying to gather dinosaurs for some sort of experience or something. And yeah. And then I don't know, why would that guy want them dead? I don't really know. But what do we think? Was that Soyono Santos in this trailer? Was that her with the whistle? Did she have a whistle in Dominion? No?
So I'm gonna pull a Tom where he says like,
Oh, you're gonna
you
blow
want me
our
to blow
minds?
your mind? Yeah. What if that's just clever cutting of the trailer? That's not the person with the raptors. That it's the whistle
That's a
could be
really
just
good point.
like the whistle could just be communication where they're not talking or yelling, they're separated in some way,
Sure.
and it's just a way of communicating with someone else. I don't
That's
actually
fair.
think that, but I just wanted to pull Tom.
You see, I can pull a Tom here right now as well, and I will blow both of your minds. So that is a female character we've seen before, but it isn't Soyana Santos. It's the helicopter pilot who got left behind on Isla Nublar in season 3, and
It's
she's
all
using
connecting.
Ibris technology that she recovered from the island.
And Hap is her co-conspirator. Is that
Yes.
what the plan?
Yes.
Okay. This is all really starting to connect here. I'm loving the web, the conspiracy here.
A dark web, if you will. Or perhaps even a Jurassic web.
A dark Jurassic web. But so you don't think, or I forget how it went, but you said it could be like a misdirection. I think that's possible for sure. But do you think she shows up at least in this show? Do you think there's somebody else, or you do? Okay. Tom, you too?
Yeah, I think so. I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and I was like, well, wasn't Rain involved in the transfer of the Atrociraptors? But they made a good point that actually it seemed like Soyana had more of a relationship with them first and was then handing them off to somebody. So it makes sense that they originated with her. I think what I'm interested in is whether they do actually originate with her, or whether there's another party here, and whatever the story is of Chaos Theory then ends up with that party losing said Atrociraptors and them ending up in the hands of Soyana Santos, because she kind of strikes me as a character who connects lots of different people but doesn't necessarily have her own things going on. So I kind of feel like she would be the person to see an opportunity and lift them out of that opportunity rather than developing them to begin with.
Sure. I could definitely see this. Like our heads are really jumping to the big picture right away as far as like what happened in Dominion and how can we tie this to Dominion. But there's a chance like we could take steps to get there slowly. It doesn't all have to happen in season 1. There could be transfer of power, or all of a sudden, Dodgson could come into play again later on down the line, or so. I don't know. I want that guy with the glasses to be Howard King, but who knows? That would be nice.
I don't.
No, you don't.
Don't steal my thunder.
So what do we think about the character models on these new characters, or not new characters, but returning characters? So we've seen Darius for a while. I think he looks awesome, and Ben for a little bit, but we finally get a reveal here of Sammi, Yas, and Kenji. What were your thoughts, Dave, on the new models that we saw for those characters?
They did Kenji dirty with his haircut. Not digging his haircut. I think overall it looks fantastic. Like the animation as a whole definitely looks like a step up from Camp Cretaceous. It looks like they have a better budget. A lot of the lighting and stuff like that, looks really good. But I love the way the characters look, the way they matured them and grew them up.
Yeah, I think it gave them like they almost look like so grown up that they at times look like different people, and I think that's fair. I mean, like I look like a different person than I did when I was 12 or whatever they were. But I think that's awesome. They look really good. I wonder what are all these relationships 6 years later, like what have they been up to? What do you think, Tom? Do you think they've continued down the path and grown into what they were kind of showing in Camp Cretaceous, or do you think they're like going down different paths these days? What do you think they've been up to?
I think my biggest point of curiosity around that actually is what's happened with Manticore Island, because obviously Ben's now on the mainland again, seeing his friends. So what's happened to get him to that point. Has he just come across because of what's unfolding, or has he been around for a while, and what does that mean for that island and May and the animals that were on it? So I'm quite, I think, curious about that. And I think more broadly it's just cool sort of seeing how they're off doing their own thing, but this is bringing them back together, because I think that's so reflective of just life. When you grow up, you sometimes grow away from people who are a part of your life, but then you'll come back together when certain things happen, and that's very much what's happening with this series, which is cool to see.
Yeah, that's definitely what I'm assuming here, because like they all had lives, that they had to get back to. That this was just like a little bit of defining moment in their time. And they probably went back, because they were kids. They probably went back to school and back to their hometowns, which were, in different places. So they're probably trying their best to keep up, everything, all these connections.
I want to know which one of them's got a podcast now. That's my biggest question.
Oh, there has to be, right? Were there any podcasts in Camp Cretaceous? I forget, but it feels like podcasts are just in every form of media these days. Like, it's in Godzilla, it's in Ghostbusters, it's like Only Murders in the Building. Like, who's the most likely to start a podcast, Dave, in this crew?
I mean, my first guess would be Brooklyn, but since she already had the YouTube presence, nobody else really strikes me as sitting down and doing that. Maybe Ben, after his growth and change, that he can kind of have a self-help podcast to go along with his experiences and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd say Ben as well.
Ben,
I can just picture him like being sponsored by hand soap companies and things as well, and I just think it would be incredible.
Yes. Yeah, you can for 20% off of this hand sanitizer, you can put in the code Ben. Dino Ben.
Just put in the code Pinkus.
But I love you bring up Ben, but I love this character transformation. Like, he is really transformed from that experience. I mean, we saw it developing in Camp Cretaceous, right? Like, he went from hand sanitizer kid with the juice boxes and everything into I'm carrying a spear with a headband on, and I'm gonna attack head on, and now he is like a hunky dude, like a young adult, and I think that's an awesome transformation for him. They all look like they're in good places, other than Brooklyn. That's unfortunate; she's dead, but everybody else seems okay. So Tom, I think you brought up Manor. Yes. Do you think we're going to see any kind of reckoning with that company for real? Do you think like we're going to get any showcase of what they've been up to, or how they were closed, or are we going to get it? Because we've gotten it so much within different franchises. The news flash, are we going to get like an opening news flash of like what happened? Because it actually
giving me flashbacks to the ones who live, Brad.
Yeah, it starts off like one of the trailers or teasers for this, right? They do like a whole like news sequence. I think that was that from? I see. I didn't remember. Was that from the end of Camp Cretaceous, or was that like a new thing? There was like a little like the new Blar 6.
I think it's from the end of it.
Yeah, I think it's part of the epilogue.
So do you think we get something like that, though, to kind of move forward and showcase what Manicore's been up to, or do you think they're involved in this, Tom? Like, what do you think?
So I don't think this is going to be a Manticore story. I think that having Dodgson involved in Camp Cretaceous and taking the behavioural tech is transitioning it to a Biosen story. So there's one shot in the trailer that you see where they're on the bridge going across some water, and you can like see mountains and snow in the background. And I'm just convinced, I have a gut feel, and I'm hoping that this ends up being like Monarch, and I'm spot on with my prediction. I probably won't be.
It's Jurassic. You'll be way off, dude.
Yeah. I have a feeling that they're going to be like following a trail that Brooklyn's left them that leads them to Biosen. And I think the whole story is going to be how are Biosen involved in dinosaur smuggling? How are Biosen exploiting their relationship with the Fish and Wildlife Service? And all of that kind of thing. Because there's a sentence you get where one of the characters in the trailer says, how many people are in on this? And that to me just screams like Biosen giving backhanders to people to do shady things so they can take advantage of the situation. So I think we've had our Manticore story, and we're now in the era of Biosen.
Dave, what do you think? You agree? You think Manicore's done and just a stepping stone?
Well, the trailer shows us Bumpy and Big Edie, so I would like to at least know how they got there. But I think I did an episode a month or so back where I said Manticore's like done. Like I think they want to put that behind them just because of the reception.
So you're saying
I definitely
the Brads are not going to be a part of this, like with the robots?
You tell us.
Yeah.
Or NDA, I guess.
Don't get him trying another impression, Dave. He does enough of them as it is.
I do enough. Yeah, I don't even remember what they sound like, but yeah, that's unfortunate. I don't return.
I do hope this is the start of a Biosen backstory, because it was really lacking. We went from Jurassic Park, where people knew who they were, but they were never mentioned, to them being this global power out of nowhere. And we got no story at all. So, if this show can kind of give us some of that, that'd be fantastic.
All I'm going to say is, Scott Kramer, if you are doing that with this season, can you wait until like season 3 so then I'm done with Tales from a Jurassic World, please? Just asking a massive personal favor right now. Like fan on fan, I'd really appreciate that.
I like all the stuff you guys have been saying. I have been more lenient, I think, on them not really showcasing what's happened in the rest of the world, because it's been such focused stories from Jurassic World to Dominion for the most part. They've been pretty focused on our characters and our plot and stuff like that. So the fact that we never really got to see like world reactions to Jurassic World or what Biosen's been up to, it's mostly okay. Of course, I would love those things. I would love to see what they've been up to. And I posed that question a little bit recently, where like especially when we found out that like somebody is trying to kill these kids, and then we know Dodgson was on the island with them, Manicore Island, and we know that like that's where we're eventually leading to, because this is before Dominion. So I always like wondered like how out in the open is Biosen even at this point? Like, do we think that they have a pretty vocal presence in the the world? Do you think that like they are an actual company, or they're going to come out of the darkness here and really do something? What do you think, Dave?
I think based on what we know of when this takes place, I think they're already a well-established company. I think they've already been given the rights to have the dinosaurs, and I think what the public sees is, oh, they're doing everybody a favor, and they're going to take these to a sanctuary, and they're going to keep us safe. And then the kids are uncovering like there's a lot of shady stuff going on, and maybe they're responsible for putting some of these out in the wild that's causing things to happen, and partnering with people like Rain Delacourt and Soyana Santos and whatever. But I think they're already established, and they have one face for the public, but these kids are going to find out what they're really up to, which is what put them in danger, thanks to Brooklyn.
Thanks, Brooklyn.
I do. On that note, I'm interested, because does that then mean that this has to kind of get to the point where it's running concurrent with Dominion? Because otherwise, if they were able to expose Biosen, Dominion would never happen. So there is kind of that element of whatever they uncover, there has to be a way for Biosen to keep it under wraps, or the story has to run parallel with Dominion and then after it in order to do that justice.
I kind of think later seasons are probably going to cross in, and then we're going to get something. And I know I've seen people say like, just don't bring the locusts in, and I think it actually makes sense for like a later towards the end. You don't have to show them. Just if they're there at Biosen Valley, maybe they start finding some of the info, or like locusts take over the farms near Sammy's farm or something like that. Like,
she's the perfect one
for
that.
Introduce it, But I do think we're going to run concurrent with Dominion at some point down the line.
So what
Oh,
what do
man,
we
that'd be
think?
so
What do we
cool.
think our like crossover scene would be? Because we got like the Fallen Kingdom opening. What is there that we could do? Like, there's a bunch of like, obviously, I mean, like some sort of Battle at Big Rock tie-in would be cool, but like there's like a bunch of opening sequences in Dominion that we could look at, like the Mosasaurus stuff. We saw Mosasaur. No, wait, did we see it? There is some. There was like
Yeah,
a
the
few shots
Mosasaur
of
and a
things
whaling
I
ship.
yeah, we got that. But no, I'm trying to think. There's a few shots from Camp Cretaceous that I don't know where they came from. Wasn't there like the Suchomimus and like a Mosasaur, or were those just like art or something like that? Were they?
There's a longer trailer. It's like 3 seconds longer if you go to the
Okay.
Netflix After School account. And the jumping out of the water, I'm pretty sure, is the Beckel Spinax after it gets yeeted into the water.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, there's a chance we could see crossover with those sort of things from the beginning of Dominion. What else? Maybe we see like that place that Claire and Zia and Franklin were like saving the baby from. Like, so there's
That
a
would be
few
really cool.
things we could see. Yeah. Do you think we get
I
like?
know exactly what we're gonna get. It will be there in Biosen Valley at some point, and you'll get a line and a brief camera pan of, "Oh, there's a plane crashing," and that will be it.
I mean, dude, think of it, like it was so exciting. That was one of my favorite parts in Camp Cretaceous was that crossover for
Yeah,
Jurassic
that
World,
was so awesome.
where Masrani is flying in the chopper and the Indominus is just running through. Like that stuff was so exhilarating to see those crossovers. I really hope we get something like that. And if we have to wait, a few seasons, that's fine. Because it took us, what, 3? Well, actually, we did it in season 1, but then again in season 3, right? So,
Is there
you know,
so is there something about the kids taking whatever information they find to the Dangerous Species Division, and that's what starts the operation in Malta?
could be. That would be. I mean, that definitely could be. Maybe, there's like, I could see like at the end of the series, like or the end of the show, just being like, all right, we have this information now. We have to hand it off to somebody, and then like Barry comes into the picture, or like somebody like
love
that.
that
That would be
so
so
much.
sick, That'd be awesome. Dave, do you think we're gonna get crossover from like outside of like potential Soyano Santos and Dodgson? Do you think we're gonna get any other crossover characters, like smaller characters?
I would like there to be, but like right now I can't really think of where somebody fits because everything I thought I knew about the show was like thrown out the window after the trailer. So like even at the first teaser, I'm like, I never would have thought the point of the show is the Atrociraptors hunting these kids. Like that totally threw me. And it's like everything I thought this may have been about, no, it's out the window. I don't know. I kind of think for some reason we'll see Wu in some context. I don't know why. It just kind of makes sense to put him in there to kind of build on his story a little bit. I would like to see anybody that's in the Danger Species Division, like, Lowry or, whatever, but I don't really know where they fit, not knowing where the show is really going.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, and plus we have a potential of like 5 seasons. You never know. We could get a lot of seasons and but we also could get no crossovers because that was kind of how we were treated a little bit in Camp Cretaceous. We were always theorizing like, who are these characters? Where's Claire? Where's Owen? Nowhere. They're nowhere. So Tom, it looked like you were about to blow our minds.
Hold up. What?
No.
Okay. What if the DSD is where Dave and Roxy have gone?
I love it. I love it. I was going to ask, do we think we'll see Dave and Roxy? Dave, do you think we'll see them again?
I hope so.
Now I hope so. Yeah, I didn't even think of them at all. I don't know what role Dave would possibly have with them. But,
he's like chief of office vibes.
Yeah, he's like the office admin or something. I don't know, but that would be awesome.
Look, I mean, this show
or
was
just
not
like a shot of them on their couch or something.
Yeah, I really hope so. This show was not shy about, at least Camp Cretaceous was not shy about like bringing in fairly big guest stars that we, actors and people that we know from other things. So I'm excited to see, what kind of people they bring in for little cameos here and there, whether it is like a Dave and Roxy or just whatever voice actors. Like, I'm excited to see. Hopefully we get some fun ones that we can talk about. But yeah, we actually, one thing I want to talk about before we start to wrap things up is the dinosaurs. We really didn't talk anything about the dinosaurs of this trailer and what could potentially be in the show. I know there's like toys and what we've got in the trailer, and there's other things, so there's stuff that we could certainly touch on, but like from the trailer at least, what was like Dave, like what was one of the most standout dinosaurs that you noticed in this trailer?
Well, the first time I watched, I didn't see the one that had the Suchomimus, in it. So when people were like all raving about it, I'm like, where is this thing? Like, I had no idea what you're talking about. And then, then I saw the other one. I'm like, oh, okay, that was cool. Nothing really stood out. Just the amount of them was kind of surprising. I didn't really think we would see so many. And like I said before, the more I watched it, the more I picked up. Like, I didn't see Bumpy the first time through. And then when you're like, slow it down, you're like, oh, there she is standing behind the kids. And, I thought the first time through, like, oh, that T-Rex is Rexy. Just, like, I know you said that in your thing. And then
I wasn't sure. I was
like,
just,
nope, the colors and the scars and stuff, that's Big Edie. You know? The Allosaurus, there was a good bit of that. And I liked seeing that. I kind of think that the Allosaurus is going to play the Toro role, where it's like the secondary main dinosaur to the Atrociraptors. And I'm really excited to see what they do with the Allosaurus.
Yeah, the Allosaurus looks so good in this trailer. I am so hyped. I mean, like I said, I went back and watched Battle at Big Rock, and it's just such a menacing creature in that short. And I can't wait to see. I love that slow-mo shot of Darius doing the Claire, holding the taser thing up in the sky. It's such a great shot. And I look forward to seeing what that's going to do. The Beckel Spinax, like, what even is that? I've never even heard of that thing before the toys started popping up.
I have a T-shirt with a Beckel Spinax on it. 'Cause it's a dinosaur that was discovered in the UK.
Look at that, the UK. Who knew? Terrible name choice. I'm sorry, Mr. Beckel Spinax, if you discovered this dinosaur.
That's not its name anymore.
Oh, it's not?
It's not.
No, it's the Altispinax. Yeah.
Okay, so not even better. Not better. Worse, maybe. But I don't know what it is. Where did it come from? That's like I think a good question, right? Because Dave, you were saying like you were surprised by how much was in the trailer, right? So Suchomimus, we know, like, could have come from Jurassic World. Allosaurus, all that stuff. We know where some of these things come from, the Atrociraptors. But like, there's some dinosaurs that we see, like you said, Big Edie, right? And Bumpy. Bumpy ended up on Manor Island at the end, right? Or no? So how did some of these dinosaurs get there? Like, were there... Could there have been like multiple missions to go get these dinosaurs? Did like Dodgson and his crew like bust into Manor Island and like just steal what was there? Like, why are some of these dinosaurs here? Like this Beckel Spinax and Bumpy seemingly being in the US? Like, what happened here, Dave? Give us the answers.
Yeah, I would tell you, but I can't. Like for the Manticore stuff, I kind of think once Biosen got the rights to the dinosaurs, Dodgson knew there was an island with dinosaurs. It's like, all right, I'm going to go start my collection. But how they're just not in Biosen Valley is a bigger question. Unless they're at this port or whatever, that we're seeing the part where it's the in-between transition from Manticore Island to they're at this transition point that they're going to get taken into the valley. And then, Ben sees Bumpy and he's like, oh no. And he has to he frees her, and then they're letting them all out. And, people are speculating that Darius is setting up an Allosaurus Big Edie fight because on one of the frames of the Big Edie, you see that shock stick kind of in the air next to her. So, is he leading the Allosaurus out and throwing it? And then like, it doesn't seem like Darius to start a dinosaur fight, but he's grown and he's been through some stuff the last
no video game controllers involved. So
yeah,
he's like, do you know what? You got Brooklyn killed when I wasn't there, so I don't care.
Yeah.
You know, the thought, and you kind of like sparked my mind there, Dave, because like the thought of these dinosaurs being in these places, like it kind of makes sense to have Dodson, who wants these dinosaurs, right, for his facility. He wants to be the hero. He kind of wants to be the hero of this whole thing. Like I could definitely see him just paying these people to go, bust into the island, steal the dinosaurs, let them free, and then he's the hero when he saves everybody. So I could definitely see that probably being part of the plot and them uncovering that and stuff like that. That could be really cool to see. But yeah, I think that's a big possibility. But it's still perplexing. Like I know Biosen was working on different dinosaurs and things like that, but like still, I it's always been interesting when we keep seeing new dinosaurs pop up that were never on any species list or never seen in any park or anything. So I'm for it though. It's gonna be fun. It looks awesome. But do you think we get Blue or anything? And what Beta? I guess Beta's around, yeah. So no,
I don't.
you don't think so? It's such an interesting point because like Blue, it was like a major selling point. They would not produce like a toy box without Blue. They would not produce any kind of marketing material without Blue. So to officially drop Blue from everything moving forward, whether it's this potential new movie and I don't know if that's the case, but it seems like that would be the case. And this show, like that's just kind of mind blowing that Blue wouldn't be involved in some capacity. I mean, I know Blue was mostly sidelined in Dominion, but like still pretty surprising, I think. Tom, what do you think?
I kind of feel like Blue's had the end of her story at this point with that nice closing scene of her and Beta going off into the wild. So I think if they start shoehorning her back into stories that take place before that, it kind of cheapens that nice ending. I think there's something quite nice about thinking of that as an animal that started in captivity and has now gone off and is just living in the wild with its young. Like, I don't think they'd want to do anything that is going to compromise on that ending at all.
Yeah. And Dave, do you think, I think maybe, I don't know if we talked about it or I heard you say it or anything, but like, do you think we see any kind of tie-in to like the Maisie books and like stuff like that? Like, do you think we get any kind of Maisie here or what do you think?
I've wanted Maisie and Darius to meet for years.
Yeah.
So I would love it if that happened. Based on where and when this takes place, there's definitely a chance it happens. So I think Muzzlemill's the one that said, he wonders if they'll use some of the plot points of the scrapped third book. Because where the second book left off, it's years earlier than when this show has taken place. And, spoiler if anyone hasn't read or listened to the book, the end of the book, they're basically going to build the cabin. They caught Blue and they're taking her with them. So
how dare you spoil that major plot point for me? It's
like you're ever going to get around to listening to it.
I have it. I think maybe. I don't know.
But, just based on where Darius is located, where we know they are, it's definitely a possibility they could run into each other. I just don't see it happening now, knowing what the point of this is, unless it's a random, like they see her in the woods when they're doing something sort of thing. I don't know how it fits anymore.
I mean, it's so interesting. This is what I always say. This is the before. We're very close to the after of knowing, what's going to be in this show and what kind of direction they're going to take. And just in general with this entire franchise, we don't really know, like, what is the future. And we do know that there's a movie on the horizon and the show potentially with a bunch of seasons. But like, I'm still like, where are we going? Where is this all headed? Are we going to?
I'm just waiting for it to give us like a massive 180, and we'll be sat here afterwards like, wow, we didn't expect Scarlett Johansson to be in the animated show.
You never know. I mean, it's possible. Like, who knows with this?
It's just like a background character in this that they then expand on in the next film.
Well, that's really what I wanted from this show is to introduce like some sort of connective tissue for Darius and DeWanda Wise's character of Kayla Watts. Like, I thought that would be such an awesome like tie in, and Kayla somehow brings them to the island, or they sneak aboard her plane or something like that. Not to the island, to the to Manticore, or not Manticore. I
The
can't
island's
get my
gone,
words
Brad.
right.
It's burnt.
The Dolomites, wherever the Biosen Valley is. That's the one I was looking for. But like, I would love it if that was the case, if we got something like that. But who knows? Maybe we'll get a Scarlett Johansson, and then we'll be wondering all about it. Maybe there will be a Colin Jost in this show at some point. Who knows?
Any blonde female character now, you're like, that's her.
That's her.
Yeah.
So last thing here before we get out of here, what was your favorite part of the trailer, Dave? What was the best part for you?
The very beginning, because it was totally unexpected, and it set the tone for everything, and just increased my hype level so much. I did not expect to see Brooklyn, period. But then to open with that, and then them straight up just say like, yeah, Brooklyn's dead. Like that was probably my favorite part.
Bold.
Not that she's dead.
That's it. Clip it.
Yeah. I mean, if that is the truth, if she is dead, just what a shame. Like, I love that character. It was such a great character. What, Tom? What? I just love that character. I thought there was a lot of potential for that character in the future of this, franchise. I even said maybe Scarlett Johansson was Brooklyn, which is maybe could be the case. Who knows? But I hope that's not the case. I hope she's not dead. But that was definitely just like they're gonna knock us out right away in this trailer with that information. So good call, Tom. What about you?
Seeing Agents Morrison and Brown helping Darius deal with the Pachyrhinosaurus.
Wait, what were they from? I forget.
Oh,
were they from anything?
I think they were from the motion comics,
well,
Brad.
You're terrible at plugging, my guy. That was not a good plug. They're just from motion
I had
comics?
to lead them.
Yeah, they're from the motion comics.
So for real, what was your favorite part?
To be honest with you, I don't think I have a favorite part. I think I'm just
ladies and gentlemen, he hates the trailer.
Dinosaurs that are in it. Yeah,
the amount of dinosaurs.
Awful.
Okay.
What can I say?
Yeah. Speaking of the dinosaurs in the trailer, I think my favorite part was in the cabin, I guess, where the Atrociraptor just busts through that like saloon door or whatever it was. Like that part was awesome. I loved the entire vibes of once they introduced the Atrociraptors, and then you see like this dark cabin and like the lighting. Dave, I think you mentioned the lighting before. Like, it's so good in that sequence. Like, I love seeing like the footsteps of the raptor, and then when it busts through that door, it's just, the lighting is so cool, and just seeing that roar while the door's swinging and the lighting, it's fantastic. So that was my
so confused by what was happening there. I was like, has something just started playing?
I was going through the trailer, and I was like, I wanted to see that part as I was saying.
You watch, Dave. If
so
this is anything like the last podcast I did with him, he'll start playing a game next, and then that'll be it for the next half an hour.
That was a Camp Cretaceous game, wasn't it, that I was playing?
It was. Why don't you get it up, Brad?
Wait, what?